Hello, what's up? We're back. We are today looking at a basic beginner's guide on how to play Testament. Now, Testament is much easier than the other characters I've had to kind of explain before. This is a 4-star character. They have a lot of moves, to be fair. Like there's a lot to kind of remember, and like how you can kind of like the applications to that. So this character has a lot of remembering to do. Like, however, once you kind of know like what all the buttons are, this character, I think they might have more special moves than most characters in the game. At least they feel like they do. Or like the applications of them, like there's like several different things you can do with Grave Reaper, Unholy Diver. There's all like there's Allocations, like same thing with like his teleport and Arbiter Sign. I think Arbiter Sign's the only one that doesn't really have a variation. It's literally just up, an overhead, or a low. Whereas like this, you can slowly throw the Grave Reaper, or you can fastly throw it, and it puts the Succubus out. Or you can hold, and then like you can put a slow one out. That's the application with that. Once Succubus is out, you can throw Crow, and if you don't hold the button, Crow goes straight towards the Succubus. But if you hold it, then Crow will go up. So teleport as well. Like teleport, obviously you teleport to the Succubus, but like if you hold teleport, then you won't go. Stuff like that, and you can see teleport in the air as well. And like you can delay the teleport. Oh no, you can't. My bad. But like you can use it without the Succubus on the screen to like stall your air movement. So there's many different applications to Learning Testament, but overall this character is not hard to play. Like compared to say, like Chip. Chip was the last character I played. This character has a very simple game plan. They are probably the best zoner in the game, at least in my opinion. They actually do the job that they're supposed to do, compared to like say, Axel does zone, but I think he struggles compared to like Testament. I think Testament has a it's 2-step. Like you really want to try and land this. I'll get into Stain first, I think, before I go into anything else, because I need to express upon how important Stain is. Like this is just a really good button for like just covering the air. And a little trick you can do is this: like once you fire it, once he's coming back, if you time it correctly, once the Crow is like by Testament, you can send him back. So you can do a double thing. That's really good for like certain block strings as well. So, but landing Stain should be like one of your like primary things. Like Testament's really good at like keeping like obviously everything's kind of interactable. Like this Grave Reaper recently got a buff, meaning the hitbox in front of this, there's a hitbox now, and there's no real hurt box. So it's much easier, it's harder to counter hit Testament for doing this. See, the point here is if Testament goes low, you jump. If Testament goes up, you run underneath. Like that's what you're meant to do, you know. And they obviously, they can cancel it, well not cancel it, but they can like go into, whereas previous Testament had to, the Succubus had to be on the screen and you couldn't fire another one until like the thing was dealt with. But now it's changed, so you can continuously like reposition where your Succubus is, or slow it down, and if you time it well, then you can teleport at the right moment. So that's something to bear in mind. Obviously, I only had a week with this character, so I haven't got like the advanced stuff you can kind of do with this character, but like I've got like the basics. So your main goal is Stain, and like you should just like it's really hard, good with his pushback to kind of always apply it. Now when Stain is applied, it isn't infinite, it eventually will go. Like it's I don't know what the time is, it stays for a considerable amount of time though, so it just dissipated now. So once Stain is on, you get a free plus frames once it pops. And there's many ways you can kind of, and then obviously if that pops on them, you get a free combo conversion without Mia. So this way, landing Stain should be like your primary thing. Like I'd always try to hit them with Stain over anything. And as an opponent, if you're fighting Testament, avoiding Stain should be like your goal, because he's considerably weak with that. Like once you're in this situation here, you're already like under an extreme threat. And things to note, like you think, oh okay, I can swing my buttons here and I've got like Stain, but you can't really capitalize on that. Like the best you can do with a combo is probably go into a Arbiter Sign, which is like, let's just do this, go like that, and then go, do something like that. Like that's all you can really do from that distance. So what you really want to do when you have Stain is you want to focus on hitting with your P normals. These are really, really good. Or K normals. Because no matter what you do, you always get the same effect. Like, and it doesn't affect plus frames as far as I'm aware. Like, the pop is always the same. And then you can get a combo of whatever your desire is, you know. It's just something to like bear in mind. The hitbox on the Crow is incredibly forgiving as well. Like, if an opponent tried to jump that, they'd probably catch their toes. Like, it's one of the things I've complained about a lot when facing Testament. Like, the hitbox on the Crow is very generous for Testament. And there's no way you can kind of like deal with the Crow as far as I'm aware, unless there's maybe a projectile you can knock it away with, but I haven't had that interaction pop up yet. So, yeah, if you're playing as Testament, like, really prioritize using Stain over anything. Like, because then you can, like, get your sick combos in, and like, yeah, that should be like your main. I'll go into combos near the end, but that should be like your main thing, is making sure you're staining the opponent as much as you can, because Testament's corner pressure is like pretty intimidating. But like, if you would do, I don't know, like this, right, and then say you did this. So sometimes it's good to do. You don't always want to do Crow. You do this. You know, it's not as threatening, so you need to kind of like do the loop, like. So now, like, automatically you're in a much better position. And you can also get a combo of throw now. From the, like, most recent patch. They've recently just been buffing Testament every patch. So now you can even get a combo of throw. So this is, like, even more better than it used to be. So, that's saying that, like, so his corner pressure is even better than it used to be. So, and obviously, like, you can also do this. So you don't have to fire, you can fire the Crow up, so he can't jump out. Like, landing Stain should be a good thing. Obviously, that is like the main thing about Stain. Like, even in block strings, like, you want to like really prioritize going up, doing this, like, all mag plus frames, and you're already in, like, you know, so. And the reason you want to use these ones is they've got decent range, and you get the same effect. The best one to kind of go is 2K, because it has a low profile. You can get up with dash momentum, and you get the same effect that you get that, and you got enough time to run in and get a close slash off. So Stain should be like your main thing as Testament. Don't like not use Stain. But I'll go over the normals now. Like, Testament has a lot of good normals. I mean, I believe they do. So you got to start with a fast slash. It's got a bit of recovery. Like, it's not too super egregious, but this is like your main control, like, for the front. You know, Testament doesn't really have like anything. Like, her 2H doesn't go up. You have to rely on this button. This button's really good. Obviously, it got nerfed when 6Ps got nerfed. Like, there's more recovery now in 6Ps, which is freaking disgusting. But this button is still amazing. So, anti-air, and you can get like if you do this and then wait in 6P, there's enough time if they jump over. A lot of the time, depending on your spacing. So fast slash is just a really good round button. Your 5H is mostly just like for like get like catching with punishing, like disjoints and stuff. Like, I wouldn't in a lot of combos I wouldn't use this, like, because it whiffs at some like kind of angles. So like I usually do like fast slash into Arbor Desire. Now obviously the opponent can run and dodge this. Like, this isn't like a foolproof thing, but it's something to kind of like do. So you can also go into this Grave Reaper. Like, you kind of want to like cancel it into things like that rather than like keep your opponent guessing as well. If you sometimes do this, sometimes do this, sometimes do this, and sometimes do this. If you have a Succubus out, obviously do like the Crow, or if you think they're gonna jump, then do Hold Crow, and then whatever. You obviously. The mental stack for Testament's quite good. Obviously, this doesn't do much damage, and this doesn't do much damage on its own. Neither this. But the whole point is like trying to get your opponent frustrated to try and get in. Another thing that's like really cool is if the opponent like runs away from you, then you can like see 6P. Sometimes it's good to like literally just wait, and then when they jump over you, just teleport. Just do anything to kind of frustrate the opponent. So obviously, the recovery on this is going to go anyway. Really good opponents will wait to see if you teleport, so you kind of need to be a little bit smarter about it. Obviously you can bait it, and they might try grab, but to be honest, the recovery on this isn't terrible, but like, if you jump after. But if you're like this range, and like you throw it and you try bait, you're not really, the most they can kind of do is maybe like I don't know, like maybe throw a super out. I don't know, but even then, I think you'd recover in time. So yeah, so this is more of a whiff punish. The P normals, these are really good. This is like mostly an anti-air, and I think it's one of the better ones. Like Testament has these two buttons for anti-airs, and they're like disgusting. Like they're really good. So like I'd use this situationally in an anti-air situation. Obviously, unless you're like trying to land like a stain hit, but I think 2P. I think 2P goes a little bit like not as far, but 2P is really good as well. This is Testament's a bar A as well, so this is the button you want to use to mash out. Like, because Testament's defense is pretty awful, as it should. He has a invincible reversal, but this one is one of the slowest in the game. So like safe jumps, there's a lot of safe jumps that can kind of beat this move. So I wouldn't rely on that too much. Like once they're in, you've kind of just got to just do anything you can to keep away from them. Like when I was first playing them, I was like playing them like very rush down centric, which you can do with like stain and stuff like that. But your priority should be to like make the opponent come to you, be annoying and stuff like that. So yeah, these are the P normals. They're pretty decent. K normals, some of the best in the game, especially this one of the God 2Ks. This goes under a lot of things if you time it, so you can use the dash momentum, get a knockdown, or go into Grave Reaper, and then set up your Succubus. You know, the timing on this can be a bit rough. Like you got to kind of delay a little bit, and that's for the teleport as well. Something to bear in mind. It's not something egregious, but starting out of Testament, you might have a little bit of issues with the timing on that. But just like after that, delay it slightly, then fire. So yeah, the 2Ks. These are really good buttons you want to use. These are like the ones you want to use like when you're like approaching, like because these buttons are so slow, you don't want to like use it. 2S. This is probably, I think this is probably the best slash button that Testament has. It's a low hitting move, which is really good. And then you can go into this. This one here, the 2H. It's only for like combo strings or block strings, because you can. It leaves you plus, so you can mash after this with 2P. But the opponent can mash in between these two hits. Obviously, you can frame trap with like this probably, but like the main thing is. I don't go for it that much, is what I'm trying to say. See, if they mash, you get like big damage, but yeah, I would just I'd focus solely at the beginning on doing block strings like this to like push them away, like try create distance. I wouldn't worry too much about the close-up game for now. Play them how they're meant to be played, like a zoner. Try to think what else there is. Obviously the dust is not terrible. It's a fairly decent dust. All things considered. Opponents can backdash 2K 2D, but I wouldn't worry too much about it. And when you're picking him up, like just do what you need to do, kind of thing. Yeah, and obviously 6P. This is probably their best button for defense and stuff like that. It's great counter poke tool, great anti-air. Yeah. Anti-air. This is more of an air-to-air button. Like if someone jumps up, you can kind of meet them in the air. Jump P is okay, nothing too amazing. It's only really good in like if you want to like do stain. So they're stained and you want a quick jab button, but that's it really. This button, Jump 2K, is really just a cross-up button. Like it hits behind. This is good when they're stained, because if they block, then you're plus, because the stain pops. But if they get hit, then you get a combo. So use this for like you can use it like when you're facing them, but it's like the hitbox is a bit weirder. This is mostly just for like after a jump in. Like your main button for jump in is jump 5 H. Sorry, jump H. This button here is like it hits really deep and it beats some 6Ps if it hits deep enough, which is disgusting. So you should really be using this as your jump in button. And you can do this. This is like a double overhead. You can also do this for like kind of like a 50-50. So it's something to bear in mind. But if they have stain, obviously, that makes this mix up even better. And what's so good about stain, obviously, as I said before, once you land a hit, you're plus. So you can just continue your pressure. But that's it for the buttons, basically. I'd focus on using these when stain's up. Obviously, this is a barre. These are for defense. And this is for like space control. That's for whiff punching. But that's the buttons, to be honest. I'll go over the special moves really quickly, because there's a little bit, I explained it briefly at the beginning, there's some like differences to how they're played, but like, you can like keep continuously chucking these out with this Grave Reaper, Obviously, if you throw it, it sets out a succubi, which is really good. Obviously, if you hold it, like all the way, you can let it go at certain points, and it will go faster. You don't have to like hold the whole thing. And the same for the up one. This one's really good as well. Like I think this one's like better at back here because like it lingers and you can control this space for like a good amount of time. I don't have much use at the moment for like the succubi being this high because I feel like it's like the opponent can like kind of read it. Like one thing I like to do when I'm facing Testament is like now there's a succubi above me, I will wait and then sometimes just jump and grab. It's very hard for like a test, like, and then you'll just get them as they come through. And there's not much the Testament player can do unless you mistime it, obviously. So maybe in like corner strings it's like good, so it's up here and then you come down. Sometimes Testament do this, but that is easy to like to deal with. So I don't think that's like the best thing to do. So this is mainly just for space control. Grave Reaper up, like the upper one, Grave Reaper H. So you do, but I do the quick one for this just to catch them as they jump. Obviously, if this hits when you're charging it, you do get a better combo. But I just think like it's just much easier just to quick fire this well. Like it's like a quick anti-air. Like, see, this is definitely go-to, but like this is like just fast. And you can just fire this your hard content. This is much better now than it used to be. Like, because there's no hitbox, a hurt box on the front. You have to actually hit Testament. See, there's lots of recovery to this. You can just teleport. Something to bear in mind. Testament can literally teleport to the succubi, like no matter what. There's something to bear in mind. So I feel like the more you play Testament, the more tricky you can get. Like I've seen some Testaments when I'm like high, they'll like throw this, they might jump like this, and then they'll teleport. It just, I mean, just even that like kind of thing can mix up like you as the opponent's timing. So just gotta try stuff like that really. Obviously these can be done in the air, which is not something I bothered with that much, like to be honest. But I've faced Testaments that have like done stuff like this, and like this, if you're not ready for it, it can mess you up. But if you 6B it, you can eat straight through this. So don't use this all the time. Yeah, you could do something like I don't know. Yeah, something like that. You know, but the opponent can mash through that if they're ready for it. And obviously this is like good for like controlling the air. But yeah, it's all about like space control of Testament. But like that's what I'm saying, like mix up when you're playing your opponent, don't just do the same thing. Don't just like always do slow charge me slash slow charge slash or slow charge that. Keep the opponent guessing. You wanna that, and you want them to come to you, so I wouldn't chase them that much. Then you've got Arbiter Sign. This is a button I use a lot. Like this button's really annoying. When you land an Arbiter Sign like that, you're effectively able to get another one off. Like the opponent has to block. Then you can just keep doing this, and you'll be surprised how easy it is to hit the opponent out of things. Like sometimes opponents will literally they'll always try and move, they'll try and get out. But you kind of need to just take it. So it's like this button's obviously when you're right in their face, it won't track. But it goes full screen now, whereas like previous version of Arbiter Sign wouldn't go full screen, so it tracks as long as you're in the face. So when you're doing like block strings, you need to be like really careful. Like you don't do something like this. No, sorry, not that. Like, because it's staying, pushes them out. But if you do something like this, then you push down. Obviously, this they can. I could probably fast slash through this, but if you're mixing up your options enough, then the opponent will like feel less inclined to kind of like do anything. Another thing I like to do is literally just this, and then do an Arbiter Sign after, like obviously with the right timing. Push down, you know. Obviously they can get away from this, you know, but like the whole idea is like you could try something different. You could do crow. You could do up crow, like, you know, that's kind of like the way you kind of have to just always mix up what you're doing. So, but these are like, I guess they're like harasser tools, but a lot of opponents can't actually deal with like, of lower level floors, they can't deal with this as much, so you can kind of harass people quite a lot. Like if they don't know how to deal with it, then they'll get messed up. Obviously you got teleport, as I explained about in the beginning. You'll always go to the succubus unless you hold it. You know, that's the stick. You can use this in the air as well. You recover quite quickly, even though it's on you. Like, sometimes opponents will be asleep at the wheel. Because obviously the options are this, this, there's loads you can kind of do with it. You kind of got to play around. Like, I find every single one of Testament's moves are useful, which is quite nice. Like, some characters have, like, just moves that are less than, like, May has Beach Ball, which is good for certain situations, but Testament, this is useful, this is always useful, this is always useful, this is always useful, Even Teleport, you can use it without the succubus on screen. Everything has a use. It's just about you finding, like, the kind of answers to it. Oh, one button I forgot to go over is 6H. This button, you can get mashed out of this. If they do it like if you do it in their face. So like, there isn't really a way to kind of deal with it. You can kind of do this from full screen. So that's like kind of like if you got the perfect spacing, it's kind of like a gotcha. But this button's hilarious. Like this is probably one of the best starters that Testament has. Like outside of say probably this. But like yeah, at this range, it's pretty good in the corner when you've pushed the opponent out. See all I hear? Like it just even then it still reaches. It will catch jumping. Obviously it can be 6P'd, but they have to time it quite well. This button is just like a really good like harassing button. Obviously it does loads of risk as well. Like if you just let it work. Like 3 of those builds risk like over halfway. Obviously you wouldn't do that over and over, but just the point is like this thing, it just builds things. So there's something else they have to kind of look out for. This is really, it is mostly just a combo filler though, but it is quite a good mid-range button that you can kind of throw out. And it is like high risk, high reward, I'd say. Okay, right, I'm going to go over like block strings real quickly, like what you kind of want to do. Like I've kind of briefly talked about it before, but the basic one you want to do is just close slash and then 2S. This is the one I do anyway. And then you want to just push them out with Grave Reaper like that. And then from this point you can go Arbiter Sign or one of those. Do the Crow, obviously. Or you can do Up Crow, just mix it up. That's one you can kind of do. This is the other one you can kind of do, as I said, like every now and then you want to throw this out. The reason you want to go like this, 2S instead of like far slash, is because 2S is a low. So like if the opponent presses any buttons in between, you can get hit and you can combo into the next move and stuff. But sometimes you want to do this because you want to like catch the opponent like pressing a button. And you get a full combo. Obviously, the opponent, if they're pressing 2P, it's in Kai's case, I believe he'll be able to stop me. Yeah, so this isn't like a foolproof. But like, if the opponent's like trying to like mash out with, I don't know. No, not jumping slash. Standing slash. Then you'll catch it. Oh, damn. Oh, you learn something new every day. Okay, well I did it this time. I didn't know that close slash would be there. The gap must be bigger than I considered before. So, this gap's much bigger than I considered. But yeah, so this is like a good frame trap to go for every now and then. Like I said, the thing you kind of want to do is after a 2HS when they've been vacuumed in, you want to do this, or you want to do Grave Reaper. Like it's kind of up to you. This is probably the best button to do because it's like 5 frames, super quick. Like it will be out most things. Like essentially once this is landed, you also do a throw. This is +2, so it's not like the best plus frames in the game. But like if the opponent respects you, you can throw them. Obviously, if they're stained as well, I mean, actually they wouldn't be stained in that situation because if you hit them, then the stain would have gone off. But the point is, you can kind of like just get your shit going, which is really really cool. Yeah, so that's kind of like the block string I do in the mid screen. In the corner, it's where it starts to get better. So I do the same sort of thing. Do this. I'd make sure I stain, right? And then in this situation, I'd kind of sometimes wait for see what the opponent does. If they like try jump, try meet them in the air with jump P, or try meet them and grab them, or you can literally do, you don't have to do any of that, so you can teleport in, because they're waiting for the crow, you can get a throw, you can go up like that. And you know, just the threat of that being there might be enough to like make the opponent. You've got to just keep your opponent kind of guessing, but then you can kind of just like, if the opponent's like literally not doing anything, you can just do this. Just keep looping the pressure, or like this, go into crow, then pop, and then go again. You know, just like keep looping the pressure. But don't always like run in, you know. Like sometimes wait and see what the opponent does, you know. And obviously don't forget you have this ginormous cleave. You can sometimes do this, like the opponent might try jump, and you can catch their jump. Now you can use Arbiter Sign in the corner, but honestly, I'd limit it down because you're so close. The opponent's much easier. I mean, I'm guilty of this, but you can kind of like stop the. They can stop you much easier from like this range. So I'd rely on my other options more, you know. And then don't forget, like this is where like teleport becomes like better, because like, you know, they could like throw, and then you could just like establish your pressure like that way. But this is a kind of like, and obviously don't forget you've got that. So it's just like in the corner. It's essentially like everything we've said so far about like mixing up your options, and then, but you have them in a worse spot, you know, like, and obviously, one thing you do want to try do, where if you can, is once you've, let me try, so it's try staying them either with super or crow, so that it's better obviously with super, because then you get like free mix up like when you go down, obviously. See, crow's gone there that time, so, but yeah, you want to try shoot them through with crow, and you want to try send them through the wall with stain. That should be like your goal when you have them on wall break, because you'll consider like you can considerably like mess them up much harder. Like obviously you get hard knockdown if you do super anyway. Like this really shouldn't ever be your super to send them through the wall. Like you get so much like more application out of this. Obviously base super damage not that good, but like out of a combo it's much better considerably. One thing also that's pretty cool, so after knockdowns, like say you kind of want to do this, so you got like your basic combo, which is this. This is the one I kind of do, you know, it's not the greatest situation because Succubi is up there. But like, you know, they're still in a position where they've been knocked down. So this is like just a standard go-to one that I did. You can also do this. So in this situation it's good as well. This is a bit better because Succubi is actually on. If you go this way and teleport, you can grab them if they are respecting your plus frames. But if you time it well, you can get a combo off. So it is like a, it is like a free setup. So you can do this, but you have to like time up. Obviously, because the height of this combo is putting the opponent like in such a good spot, like that you can get in on time. You can't really do this with this. If you do it with 2K2D, like you can't do close slash. Oh, you can. You can do close slash. You just got to time it better. I just messed up. So yeah, you can even do close slash, which is pretty sick. So I thought originally you could only do 2k 2D, but I guess I didn't time it perfectly. So if you're timing it perfectly well, you can do that. See, I guess the timing is just a bit rough. So these are something to kind of bear in mind. Like these are like things you can kind of do. And obviously you got to like time that perfectly as well. But yeah, so that's kind of like what I do. Obviously you don't have to do that as well. Like you don't have to teleport. You can like fire the crow in. You know, that's one option. Or if you want, you could just do an arbiter sign again. Just mess with them and then fire a crow. You know, like they will be down on the floor if they get hit by the arbiter sign. I find arbiter sign, this one I use it a lot more, but I feel like the low one probably is better. Because obviously, like, the opponent could be like trying to like move forward. Kind of like how Slayer's 2H works, where he like stops like a good portion of the ground. Like, obviously, this isn't as good as that, but like you can see how it pushes people back as well, which is really good. So that's something to bear in mind. But yeah, like one thing about these is don't get too predictable. It's like a mind game every time. So that's something to bear in mind. Yeah, and then like I guess a super combo you can kind of do if you have the meter, which is you want to like kind of use the succubi if you can. So that just sends them straight through the corner, and then you get your like setup. Obviously you can also do this. You know, something like that, which seems much harder than it looks. You can't really do the P. You can do that though. You know, just saying to kind of make around, but you can throw Crow into the combo. You can also double stain with the super. And something like that, and you should probably restain, but I messed up my input. So yeah, that's kind of like the combos I kind of focus on with Testament to start with, and obviously in the corner they're very much like just the same. They're probably a bit easier to do, to be fair. They'll just send you straight through. But yeah, that's kind of like Testament's kind of like combo structure and his block strings, and like the buttons that you kind of do. This is very like a very beginner centric kind of guide. So don't if you like want more like an advanced look at the character once you've got used to him, then I check out Dustloop or some like other Testament players and stuff like that. Go to a more like a high level thing. But this character is like very simple to pick up. If you like zoning, I think this is the character you should pick among all the other zoners in the game. Unless you consider like Chaos a zoner and you want to break your fingers trying to learn his stuff, then I'd say this is the character. He's simple, he's fun, he's not too hard, but he has a higher skill ceiling, which you can like kind of like if you get better with him, like the better you are, the stronger you'll be as a player. Like, you know, he's got a lot of like player expression you can kind of muck around with. But yeah, that's kind of my first look at like a beginner's look at Testament. I think if there's anything I missed that anyone kind of knows, just feel free to put it in the comments and we can like kind of discuss it. This obviously I've only played him for a week, so I'm not like a goated Testament player. So yeah, any advice would be really good for anyone who wants to be able to learn more. I'm gonna pick up Abba next. I've already started playing her a little bit. I feel like playing her will be a little bit trickier than Testament. Abba's I think Abba's a very well designed character. Very like Testament, Abba has a lot of buttons as well, and like normals that you can kind of like use for player expression. But I think she's got a higher skill ceiling. But anyway, I'll leave it for there till next time.